We play for our schools, teammates, fans, families, and alums.
Lowney walks in, fires, he scores!
We play for our jerseys. We play for our league.
Hit it across the line, kicks it to his forehand, swings it back over, scores!
We play with passion and pride.
65 minutes, we stay together.
We are yesterday's heroes. We are today's champions. We are tomorrow's legends.
WCHA champions!
We are the WCHA. Tradition starts here.
Coming up on this episode of Inside the WCHA, we are joined by Shane Frederick of the Mankato Free Press to discuss all things WCHA. Plus, we'll bring you a pair of exclusive interviews with Alabama Huntsville head coach Mike Corbett and Bemidji State goaltender Michael Bitzer. And of course, we'll break down highlights and stats from last weekend and give you a preview of this week's action. Before we get started, let's take a look at the top stories for this week in the WCHA. The first USCHO.com poll of November features a trio of WCHA teams, with number 11 Minnesota State, number 15 Bemidji State, and Lake Superior State making their debut in the poll at number 20. Bemidji State matches number 3 Boston College and number 16 Union for the most wins in the country at 8. Minnesota State is tied for 4th with 7 victories, and Lake Superior State is tied for 7th with 6 wins. At 8-2-0, Bemidji State is off to its best 10-game start since the 2009-2010 team opened 9-1-0. The Beavers' perfect 8-0-0 WCHA record is also their best since that same season. Alabama Huntsville has jumped into the 3rd place in the WCHA standings after finding this success away from home, having posted a 4-1-1 mark through 6 league road games. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Inside the WCHA. I'm your host, Ryan Kassenschmidt, joined by Andrew Jelkin. Andrew, we're 7 weeks in the college hockey season, and things in the conference standings are beginning to shape up.
Bemidji State currently stands undefeated in conference play, and they find themselves with a comfortable first-place lead. Only 4 points separate the 2nd through 5th place teams, so positioning is completely up for grabs going into this weekend. Alaska Anchorage, Bowling Green, and Northern Michigan may be towards the bottom of the standings, but with a couple of wins here and there, they could easily move up a few spots. Now that we've seen where the teams are positioned, let's take a look at how it got to this point with a look at some of last weekend's highlights.
10th-ranked Minnesota State traveled to the UP this weekend to face the red-hot Lake Superior State Lakers in a series that saw both teams earn wins. On Friday night, the host Lakers scored early and often. Goals by Josh Nenadal and Braden Gelsinger gave them a 2-0 advantage less than 5 minutes into the first period. Minnesota State wouldn't answer back until halfway through their second, with freshman Mark Michaelis scored the lone goal for the Mavericks. LSSU's Gage Torold answered back a few minutes later to give the Lakers a 3-1 lead. After a couple of insurance goals in the third, the Lakers came away with a 5-1 victory. Saturday night was a bit of a different story, as the first goal of the game didn't come until the very end of the first period, courtesy of MSU junior forward Brad McClure. Midway through the second, Jordan Nelson added another tally to push the lead to 2-0. JT Henke got the Lakers on the board at 10:46 of the second period, but Maverick goaltender Jason Poloski shut the door after that. Poloski finished with 19 saves in earning the 2-1 win.
Alabama Huntsville traveled to Anchorage looking to earn their 2nd road sweep of the season for the first time since the 2004-2005 campaign. The Chargers definitely started on the right foot as they jumped out to an early 3-0 lead in Friday night's contest thanks to goals from Cam Knight, Hans Gorowski, and Brennan Saulnier. UAA's Brad Dewey responded to put the home team on the board midway through the first. but a goal by John Teets put the Chargers back up by 3 going into the intermission. Dewey added his second of the night in the middle frame before Kurt Gosselin's third period power play tally wrapped up the 5-2 victory for UAH. The Chargers again jumped out to a 2-0 lead in Saturday's series finale, courtesy of Gorowski and Gosselin. That lead would hold all the way to the third period until Matt Anholt and Niles Rygaard struck to bring the Seawolves even. The teams remained deadlocked into overtime when Matt Salaney netted the game winner with just 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining in the extra frame. Seawolves goaltender Olivier Mantha ended the night with 31 saves.
Coming off their first victory of the season, Bowling Green ran their winning streak to 2 by getting on the scoreboard early and often Friday night against Ferris State. Tyler Spezia and Matt Polkamp pushed BGSU to an early 2-0 lead just over 6 minutes into the game. The Bulldogs responded with Dominic Lutz's first career goal, but just 22 seconds later, BGSU freshman Alec Rawheiser stretched the lead back to 2. The Falcons received an insurance goal late in the second period by Mitch McLean to finish off the Bulldogs by a 4-1 margin. Ferris State came roaring back Saturday night, scoring just over 6 minutes into the opening frame, courtesy of freshman Taylor Fernandez. BGSU freshman Lucas Craig scored his first career goal to tie things up in the second period. After that, Ferris State's defense held strong. Andrew Durante scored a power play goal to put Ferris State back in front, and Gerald Mayhew ended a short-handed tally in the third to preserve a 3-1 victory.
Number 18, Bemidji State made the trek up to Alaska to take on the Nanooks, looking to remain undefeated in league play. Friday night, the teams traded first-period goals from Bemidji State's Charlie O'Connor and UAF freshman James LaDuce. Kyle Bauman's second-period strike gave the Beavers a 2-1 lead entering the final frame. The third period was all Bemidji State, as the Beavers scored 4 unanswered goals. Philip Marinaccio scored on the power play. Jerry Fitzgerald tallied a pair, and Bauman scored his second of the night, giving Bemidji State a 6-2 win. O'Connor got the scoring going again Saturday with a power play goal near the end of the first period. The Nanooks managed to respond with a power play tally of their own by freshman Ross Height. BSU's Brendan Harms put the Beavers ahead for good at the 17-19 mark of the second period, while Marinaccio added an insurance tally in the third period to secure the 3-1 win. BSU goaltender Michael Bitzer stopped 21 of 22 shots for his 8th win of the season.
We're now joined by Michael Bitzer, goalie for the Bemidji State Beavers. Michael, it's a pleasure to have you on today. So far, the Beavers are off to a hot start this year, 8-2 to start the season, 8-0 in the WCHA, 4-game winning streak, ranked 15th in the nation. Michael, what are some of the keys to your team's success thus far?
We've had experience this year. A lot of experience coming back. Our forwards, we got an old group of forwards and a few new guys that came in and stepped in and played well for us. And then our DN, you look, we have a lot of sophomores, and I think we only have one junior and then a couple freshmen. But at the end of the day, we've got a lot of guys with at least 1 year of experience in the league. So I feel like that's helped us a ton.
You're having a fantastic year thus far with a 1.40 goals allowed average, which is good for second in the nation, and a .938 save percentage. Additionally, you lead the nation in minutes played and shutouts. So what's the biggest difference this year as opposed to last year for you?
I think a big part of it goes to like what I was saying before. We've had a lot of experience coming back, and a lot of guys that know the system we play. And I know we pay a lot of attention to detail here at Bemidji, and when everyone's doing their job right, it makes my life pretty easy.
It's been an exciting start for the year looking back for you guys, but as you continue to look forward, what are some of the expectations as you continue to go through this year?
I think we just got to focus each weekend one at a time and try to get better every weekend. We can't be happy with where we are right now because you don't win championships in October and November, so hopefully keep building week in and week out and keep elevating our game as the year goes on.
Minnesota State is one of your biggest rivals, even dating back to the old WCHA. And last year, you backstopped a 1-0 victory for Bemidji State. This weekend, you guys face off 2 top-ranked teams in the WCHA. What do you expect to see from this matchup?
Expect a real tough weekend. They're a good team, and they've got a lot of scoring depth up front as well. So I think it'll be a good matchup for us, and it'll be a good test.
Friday night, Michigan State struck first in the battle between in-state rivals. Tech rallied after that with goals from Jason Blacklock and Jake Lucchini to take a 2-1 lead. But 2 straight power play goals from the Spartans, one in the second and one in overtime, lifted Michigan State to the win. The Huskies came out firing Saturday, scoring 2 goals in the first 5 minutes off the sticks of Mark Auk and Joel L'Esperance. MSU put 1 in late in the first period, but it was all Tech after that. MTU would score 3 unanswered goals to take the 5-1 win.
Northern Michigan faced off against Wisconsin for the second time this season. On Friday, Matthias Israelson made 34 saves and Dominic Shine netted 2 goals to propel Northern Michigan to a 5-2 win. On Saturday, the fans were treated to a goaltending duel between the Wildcats' Ate Tolvanen and the Badgers' Jack Barry. Tolvanen finished with 33 saves for the Wildcats, but his team was unable to solve Barry and ended up falling to Wisconsin in the finale 2-0.
Andrew, an exciting weekend of hockey action. What were your thoughts on some of the games this past weekend?
I was really impressed with the way Bemidji State was able to stay unbeaten in the WCHA. They've really established themselves early behind good goaltending from Michael Bitzer, who we already heard from on the show. Also, Alabama-Huntsville, surprising a lot of people so far this year, and I really like what I'm seeing out of them. In non-conference play this weekend, a lot of WCHA teams got splits. Good showing for them this weekend. We'll look for that to continue the rest of the season.
Now we're going to take a look at some of the WCHA Players of the Week coming from Bemidji State, Alabama, Huntsville, and Ferris State.
That's right, Ryan. This week's Offensive Player of the Week is Bemidji State senior forward Philip Marinaccio. The Nobleton, Ontario native factored in both game-winning goals for the Beavers and tied for the WCHA weekend lead with 4 points. Marinaccio scored his 2 goals on just 3 shots, while finishing the weekend with a +3 rating. This is Marinaccio's second career WCHA Weekly Award. Our Defensive Player of the Week is Alabama Huntsville sophomore defenseman Kurt Gosselin. Gosselin led all WCHA defensemen with 2 goals and tied for the high water mark among blue liners with 3 points, helping the Chargers to a road sweep at Alaska Anchorage. The sophomore from Brighton, Michigan, tallied a power play marker in UAH's 5-2 win on Friday before factoring on 2 Chargers goals in a 3-2 overtime victory in Saturday's series finale. Gosselin finished the weekend with a +2 rating while leading all WCHA skaters with 11 shots on goal. Last but not least, the WCHA Rookie of the Week is Justin Kapelmaster from Ferris State. The Coral Springs, Florida native notched his second victory in as many career starts, stopping 26 of 27 shots. Kapelmaster made 20 saves combined in the first and second periods as the Bulldogs built a 2-1 lead, then stopped all 6 Bowling Green shots in the final frame to hold on for the 2-goal victory.
Coming up after the break, we are joined by Huntsville head coach Mike Corbett to talk with him about his team's road success. All that and more on Inside the WCHA. Don't go anywhere.
Nicely done by Cam Knight.
Inside the WCHA is brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. For more information, visit blc.edu.
College hockey fans, you can now watch every game, every night from your own home. From Anchorage to Alabama, Big Rapids to Bowling Green, and all points in between. All your favorite teams live on WCHA TV. Affordable season, monthly, and game day passes are available. Sign up today and don't miss a thing. Join us at WCHA.TV.
Now pass goes down low, shot scored with McHugh, who's in the corner. Pass comes out to Wilcox, he hits the crossbar and it goes in. One more time, big hit at center ice by Jared Brown. Salhini, shot scored.
Welcome back to Inside the WCHA. I'm joined now by Coach Mike Corbett of the UAH Huntsville Chargers. Coach, great to have you on today.
Thank you.
Coach, last weekend you went up to Alaska Anchorage and you were able to get a sweep at Alaska Anchorage. That's the first time that you guys have been able to do that in your school's history. Additionally, you had a sweep of Fair State earlier this season, so that's the first time you've had 2 road sweeps since 2004-2005. What is the secret to your guys' road success this year?
Well, we played on the road so much. We had 5 or 6 on the road. We really had no choice. But we're good on the road. You know what? The old-fashioned where teams kind of come together when they go on the road. We planned for it. We knew what our schedule was going to be, and we knew we had to, in order to gain points, we had to gain WCHA points on the road early in the season, and we did a good job of it.
Coach, you've got 4 WCHA wins so far this year. Last year, you had 5. So what does that say for the growth of your program, being able to almost surpass that total so far?
You know what, we're building. We're telling our recruits and future recruits that we're building our program. We like the direction that we're going, and right now we just had to play on the road. Now we got to be able to. We got 3 of the next 4 weeks at home. We got to be able to make some hay at home. But I like the process that we're and the progress that we're making right now.
Your team has 9 different players with at least 2 goals scored so far this season. What does that mean for a coach to have so many people that you can rely on offensively?
We knew we had to score by committee the entire year. Max McHugh's been our offensive leader since he stepped on campus 2 years ago. But we knew everybody was going to have to chip in. And the good part about for us, especially that Friday win where we had 3 defensemen be able to score goals, when you have defensemen scoring goals and helping your team, that's a big plus for any team.
Coach, this weekend, Alaska Nanooks come to town. They've gotten wins against LSSU and MSU. What do you guys need to do against them this weekend in order to make sure that you keep these wins rolling?
The biggest thing for us, we want to be fresh. Coming in at home and being fresh and being energetic with all the road games we've had. But you know, they're a team that's going to play up and down. They move the puck very well. Like most teams in our league, we're going to have to manage the puck well because what Coach Ferguson has done with his group, you know, you don't manage the puck and you turn it over, they're going to make you pay. So we got to be able to manage the puck and manage the game pretty well. If we can do that, you know what, I think we're going back to the typical WCHA where both teams want to get within a goal in the 3rd period and then see what happens the last 20 minutes.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time on the show today. That's all we have for you today. Mike Corbett, coach of UAH, thank you very much for your time today, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coming up after the break, Andrew will sit down with Shane Frederick of Mankato to discuss all things WCHA, including a review of the upcoming game. Stay tuned.
Blistering shot by Brad McCool, who can really fire it. That's his 5th goal this season.
Inside the WCHA is brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. For more information, visit blc.edu.
College hockey fans, you can now watch every game, every night from your own home. From Anchorage to Alabama, Big Rapids to Bowling Green, and all points in between. All your favorite teams live on WCHA TV. Affordable season, monthly, and game day passes are available. Sign up today and don't miss a thing. Join us at WCHA.tv.
Welcome back to Inside the WCHA. Now we're joined by Shane Frederick, writer for the Mankato Free Press. Shane, thanks for coming on today.
You're welcome, no problem.
We'll jump right into things, talking about some of the surprises you've seen so far in the WCHA. What's been the most surprising to you as the season's played out so far?
I think it's got to be Bemidji State and Lake Superior State and their starts to the season. I think, you know, they're teams that last year maybe looked like they might be on the rise, but you never know what's going to happen in this league and how teams are going to go from one year to the next. But I think that, you know, watching the way they started and so far have been able to maintain that, I think that's been the biggest thing. I think there have been other years where you see maybe 2 weeks in, you see a team that surprises teams a little bit and then maybe comes back to earth a little bit, and they haven't done that so far.
So coming into this weekend's matchup, which series do you look at and say this is like the most important game this weekend?
Well, I think I really think it's the team I cover, Minnesota State University, and you know, playing at home against Bemidji State. They're 1 and 2 in the conference right now, with Bemidji State leading the way, and they're both ranked in the top 15. It's a rivalry that goes back to their Division II days. You look at the end of last season, Bemidji State came to Mankato and got a big win on the last night of the regular season. That kind of spoiled Minnesota State's chances to win the McNaughton Cup outright. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of, and I think it's just a really good rivalry. And you look at how these two teams have started this year. Minnesota State has slipped a little bit with a few series splits, but if they want to try to maintain some pace against the Beavers, I think that these are important home games for them. And on the flip side, it's a chance for Bemidji State to really continue to add some separation at the top of the standings between them and the second place team and whoever else is following behind. So I think it's a huge weekend, and it should be a lot of fun in Mankato, I think.
Another team we kind of talked about a little bit ago, Lake Superior State. They're ranked for the first time this week, coming in at the 20, and they're playing against Tech this weekend, battle of the 4 and the 5 seeds. How do you see that one shaping up?
I think it's another great matchup in the league this weekend. I'll be curious to see. I think I'll have that up on my laptop before the games in Mankato, and being able to watch a little bit of that. What's interesting is I had a chance to talk to Mike Hastings after Saturday night's game in Sault Ste. Marie, the Minnesota State coach, Mike Hastings, and he said, they're legit. I mean, they're good. They are a team that can score goals. They're a team that has been very good in special teams. And again, they're a team that started off a little bit in surprising fashion with some wins, but have maintained that. And now they play a kind of a rival, an Upper Peninsula rival in Michigan there, and I think that should be another great matchup. But I think, I also think it's great for the league to see a few different teams sprinkled in at the top, and Lake Superior State's one of them right now. And I saw them last year at the end of the season. They came to Mankato. They won the Saturday night game in the best-of-3 series. They forced a Sunday third game to get to the Final Five. Gordy DeFile was phenomenal in goal and continues to be rock solid there. And now they're scoring a lot of goals. So they're a good team, and Tech will have its hands full, that's for sure.
So kind of with some of these new teams this year that have come into play and doing really well so far, how do you see the standings shaping up as the year progresses?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think it's some of the other surprises are the rough starts that Bowling Green has had and that Ferris State has had, and for the last few years there's kind of been a faction of teams at the top that include those teams, and Minnesota State that now, and in Michigan Tech that you're seeing the standings kind of shaken up a little bit. And I'll be curious to see, over the next, we're a little over a month into the season. I'll be curious to see over the next month, up until the holiday break for teams, what teams are able to do and where things stand kind of at the midway point. But you have some teams that are in pretty good shape to stay at the top. And, so I'll be curious to see, what those teams do. I have a feeling some of those down teams will bounce back a little bit. But I think some of those teams up at the top have enough juice going for them right now to stay there and make it a real tight race for the second half of the season.
Thanks again for joining us today, Shane.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Inside the WCHA. Be sure to tune in a couple weeks for the next episode coming out. Until then, for Shane Frederick, Ryan Katzenschmidt, I'm Andrew Jelkin, and have a great night.